Hello, parents, and welcome back to another awesome, amazing show with Get Right with Miss Wright. I have some lovely guests with me. Some of my favorite people. I have Dr. Sharon Sterchy.
Hello.
She is our Conroe ISD Athletics Director. And what else? Give us some more
Coordinator
titles.
of Health and Physical Education.
Yes, she is of everything. She's flawless. Yes. And I have our own very special coach, Jessie Orlando. She's our PE coach at Bradley and the mom, too.
The mom, yeah.
And everything, and the job.
And then expert on living a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, go girl. And then we have our amazing parent, Miss Jessica Whipple.
Hello.
Yes. And so, Jessica, tell us how many kids you have?
I have four.
You have four?
I do. I have 4 children.
Yes. All different ages?
All different ages. My oldest is 18, 11, 8, and 6, almost 7.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so I know Coach Orlando has children as well.
2 teenagers,
Mhm.
2 girls, 16 and an almost 18-year-old.
That is good. Get ready. And Dr. Sterchy, do you
I have one son, and he is going to be 38.
Awesome. Look, she's like, I'm paying my dues.
That's
right. And we are there. And the reason why I wanted to bring that forward, just to let you know, parents, that, we have some parents here on our talk show so that you can relate. We want you to just learn as much as possible about ways to become a physically healthy family, because times are always changing, as we said on the other episodes, as well as just knowing, what's the best nutritional route to take and how often should we be, exercising, because we live in such a society that is experiencing a lot of not only mental disorders, but a lot of obesity, just so many things. And so if we can find out some really great information from these 2 experts, I want to be able to inspire you and help you and kind of change the dynamics of your household in order to become healthily fit. So we'll go ahead and get started. When we get started, just, Dr. Sterchy, tell us a little bit about, what is your whole philosophy surrounding health and physical education?
Well, I always say that our goal for physical education for the boys and girls at all of our schools, doesn't matter if it's pre-K or if it's high school kids, the key is for everyone to have the highest percentage of engaged time. We don't want kids sitting, we want kids moving.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more opportunities they have to move and be safe and have a wonderful time, the more active they are. They'll usually develop some new skills, and they'll be able to take those skills and maybe teach a family member or experience those same kind of skills during the weekend time, whether they're playing soccer or softball or baseball. Maybe they're swimming during the summer or winter, they're competitive swimming. Maybe they'll learn a new activity like archery that they never thought they would love, and all of a sudden they found a real interest in that. There's something for everybody. You don't have to be the fastest, the tallest, the strongest. You just have to be able to move, just walk.
So the key, and what I hear you saying, is that you just have to get into this routine of just moving.
Just moving.
Moving is just really healthy for kids, adults, all of us, all over.
And what's the easiest thing to do? Walk. Weight-bearing activity,
Yeah.
doesn't require any extra money, just maybe a good pair of shoes,
Mhm.
and you can do it at leisure. You can do it whenever you can squeeze in a few minutes of your day. You can just park a little farther away at the grocery store and get more steps. You can take the stairs instead of the elevator at work and get a few more activity points.
Look at you, she's laid it all out for us. So Jessie, tell us a little bit about your philosophy as a PE teacher before we, go into the different programs that Conroe ISD has and really get into all of that. But I feel like, when I was a kid and my PE teacher was he and a she, they just did some different things, and I really didn't understand the purpose of it, but I guess because I'm older now, I understand. What would you say, what is your philosophy here at Bradley, just in general, as a PE coach?
Well, personally, I am a very active person, and I am super passionate about living a healthy lifestyle, even before I have my kids. So when I started teaching, I did not start it in physical education. I was a teacher in the classroom. And one of the things that will get me is that I was excited about PE but my students were not. Like I was like, today you have PE, and they'll be like bone down, and they didn't want to go to PE. And my question was like, why they're not happy to go to the most happiest class in the school. And that's what it started to get me to get more interested in like PE. And I knew that was going to be my favorite class. And so that's when I decided to go into physical education. I did all my certifications and I started teaching, and right away I found what was going on. You know, the classes were not 100% fully engaged. So a lot of kids were sitting or kids were not moving, and so they want to be moving. Some kids just want to find the right way to have fun. And when they're having fun, they don't even feel like they're exercising. It's a win-win. You have them, you know, having fun and then at the same time exercising. So that's what I started like finding more and more ways to not only teaching them ways to be healthy and active and living a healthy lifestyle, but also making it a class where they're passionate. When it's PE time, they're first in line. They want to be the first one inside the class. And so that's where, you know, my passion comes from, you know, for PE. And then obviously I will get more into the programs that I have started in different schools and how I teach this passion, you know, to the kids and how to live very healthy lifestyles and very easy steps.
I think that's a blessing how you found the problem and seeing that as a classroom teacher, and then as soon as you become a coach, you're able to really identify like, wait a minute, like some of this makes sense, you know, why kids are so, you know, just like, because sometimes kids don't like to move. So, you know, Jessica, tell us a little bit about like you, like how does your family, you know, view PE? Have you ever had it at a time where your kids are just like, come on, mom, like,
You know, it's funny because as you guys were talking, I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I have 4 kids and they are all so very different. You know, I've got kids that are active. I have kids that are just not active. You know, they would rather not. You know, so it's
boogie, nothing.
yeah, you know, like, you know, my 11-year-old, he's more of, you know, he's an artist. He, you know, likes video games and stuff like that. Computer, you know, things like that. So when we say things, you know, oh, active sports, you know, he's just kind of like, what? You know, so, but my others are not like that. You know, I have some that are very, very active. Gabby, my 8-year-old, she rides horses, you know, so she is, you know, building the strength and, you know, all of that stuff. It takes a lot to ride horses. So I think it's very important also, you know, being able to find what they like, what will get them moving, what will, you know, no matter how different they are, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what will get them engaged and what they will be happy with.
Exactly.
I'm glad that you said that, because as often as parents have, especially like multiple kids, it's like multiple different personalities, and you have to figure out which works for which. And like you said, it's just important, of course, to keep them moving. So let's just all have a conversation on what do you start with first, though? Because I'm really interested. Do you start with nutrition first? Or do you start with, you know, physical exercises? Like which one should be the priority? Or just help us. Like, how does it go? Like, which one? Sorry, I was like, it just seems overwhelming. Okay,
The key is balance. You know, we always talk about the B word, balance, and that you can't focus strictly on movement or really competitive sport. You know, that it has to be a good balance. And you were talking about your children, how different they are, but they've all found sort of a niche. And as long as they're successful in their own special way, they don't have to get a trophy. They don't have to be first. They don't have to be the fastest. They just have to enjoy what they're doing. Absolutely. And don't we all stick with things more often if we like what we're doing?
Yeah.
If we hate emptying the dishwasher, we're probably not going to be the person who jumps in to do that, right? If we hate, you know, doing running laps, well, don't do running. You might feel you find a passion with jumping rope or just playing, you know, a tennis. or something that you find that's fun for you. I think balance is the key.
So when we talk about different programs, like if I'm, you know, for our moms, dads, uncle, tias, whomever are watching this, and they're saying, okay, so which route do I take first, though? Let's just talk about that, and I want to hear from you, Jessie, too. Like, which route do I take? Do I need to start when I leave this show? Do I need to start with nutrition first, or like go straight into exercising? How do I balance that? What can I take away first? How would that conversation even start as a family? Like, today, kids, family, this is what we're gonna do. Like, what would you suggest?
Well, I'm gonna have to start and jump in with my program. I started a few years ago with a program called Catch, but that changed through the years, and you know, now we're in 5210 program, which is a 5210 Let's Go. It's an amazing program. It's free. I can just go online, and I downloaded the whole program. I didn't have to pay. Catch was paid. You know, all those different things. But this is an amazing way, and like you said, where do I start? I teach this. This is our third year at Bradley. My goal as a PE teacher is to call Bradley a healthy school with healthy kids in it. We call it Healthy Bears. So 5210, I keep telling the kids, it's an easy way to remember. Every day, did I do these numbers today? Did I eat my 5 servings of fruit and vegetables?
I was just supposed to say, I was like, tell us what 5210 is.
You know,
Okay, so tell us
you
what
do
that
your
is.
checklist. You know, you go through your checklist, and I do it as an adult. I check, and one day
So
I
5 is
eat
veggies.
5
Break it
is
down. Break it
5
down.
servings of
Okay.
fruit and vegetables, and it's 5 or more. Okay, so if we've got more servings,
That's good.
thumbs up, but the minimum of 5. So it's half of your plate should be vegetables and fruit. Okay, the 2. This is a number that it will scare everybody because it has to do with our lifestyle nowadays. 2 is reducing your screen time. You should have 2 or less hours of recreational screen time. So when I teach my kids, hey, if you're doing homework and you're using your computer, that doesn't count as your screen time because homework is important.
Okay, so pause right there. So what would you say as far as both of y'all, and of course, you know, Jessica, chime in. It's hard to balance that, like when they go, you know, to dinner and they're on their cell phone. Like, how do you track that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that. It seems like a lot, but what would be some highly suggestions on tracking like that screen time? That's just, you know, 2 hours.
Most of those computers will
Yes.
show you how much
Yes.
screen time you have.
Mm.
And maybe it would be a good idea, instead of taking that
Yes.
iPad or that fire unit to the restaurant, because you know that the kids will be quiet and you can have an adult
Yeah.
conversation with your guests or your friends, that maybe a book
A book.
or something
Yes.
where the kids can do some artwork or
Mhm.
some activities
We
that
don't
are
even
other
think
than
about stuff.
Yeah.
watching the baby sharks or watching a movie or
Right.
watching. You all have seen those people in the cars with the video screens on the back of the driver and the passenger's seat. And, you know, it's great when you're on a 10-hour trip, but it's also the amount of strain on your eyes. You've heard recently, you know, about all the damage that's being done to your eyes because of the blue light on the screens, and now they're making glasses to help us all with that, because we're all guilty of being on our computers for a really long time, so.
Do you find it stressful, Jessica, you know, to monitor that whole screen time, or where are you at?
You know, for me, hearing that, it's completely, totally true for our entire family to limit it. It sounds a little overwhelming.
And thank you for being vulnerable.
Yes.
I appreciate it. That's why we're learning. That's
Yeah.
why we're here, because we don't pay attention, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, I just need you to be quiet for 2 seconds. to hear.
You know,
Okay.
sometimes it's a matter of survival, you know, and you just need that few minutes of just, and then the next thing you know, the few minutes has gone into a few hours, you know what I mean? But sometimes, but just hearing, you know, the 2 hours, it's kind of like, oh gosh, you know, if I looked at, you know, my phone right now to see how long I've used the screen time or whatever today, I would probably be really embarrassed, you know?
I think it's overwhelming for everyone, and you know, the days just go by so quickly. You don't
Yeah.
really think about how much time you're spending.
Absolutely. Are there any suggestions? I mean, is it just one of those things where you just, you know, kind of decrease it? Because I know if I were to go home today and say, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. I mean, it would be a house full of kicking and screaming and what are you talking about, you know?
It's almost like wondering if you could possibly, and y'all, come on,
Put
give it,
limits
give
on
it.
your screen.
Put limits on the screen, but also maybe a gradual release to get to the
Yeah.
setting goal.
Yeah.
And maybe even make it as an, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out
And
there.
it
Maybe
doesn't
like
go
a,
to bed with them, you know, once
Yeah.
their pajamas
Oh,
are on and they're ready to
absolutely.
go.
Yeah.
but
You know,
maybe like
it's-
making it like as an incentive thing.
Yeah,
like,
as a mom, I mean, it's hard. I have teenagers, and I tell you how hard it is, especially, you know, your girls, teenagers, to get those phones. But first of all, you need to make them understand
Mhm.
that it is a privilege.
Right.
Okay,
Yep,
it is
absolutely.
not a given.
Mhm.
It's not a right.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
it is a privilege that they get to have all this, you know, in their hands. So much information, it's overwhelming. I mean, nowadays, there's not a discussion in my house where we don't go and settle it with Google.
Mhm.
So it's easy. Oh, no, you're right. No, hold on.
Right.
You know, Google settles the conflicts in the house, which is amazing. But you have to make sure that just like at school, kids have their, you know, expectations.
Mhm.
At home, it should be the same.
Right.
And
So it's almost like, but I see what Jessica's saying too. It's just like, how do you go from, you know, our last, you know, episode talked about like the different parenting styles. So how do you go from the extreme to, okay, 2 hours, which I understand. So I'm thinking that, you know, maybe it could be a gradual release. Like we're gonna start,
But it
we're gonna
Right.
It starts
revamp
on us.
some things.
It starts
Yeah.
on the parents.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It starts on
Yes.
us. So we
Yeah.
need to start setting the example.
Mhm.
I started it, you know, like,
Oh, good.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, and
To
I,
model it for them
it's
to get it.
16
Yeah.
and 18, and I'm telling you, I mean, my kids gradually got into this new technology craziness.
Mhm.
I mean, when my kids were younger, I did brought coloring books, reading books
Mhm.
to the restaurants. I didn't have the tablet and the iPad,
Right.
and this is just a few years back. I mean, we're talking about that the booming just like 6 years ago was just like
It just took
crazy.
Mhm.
My kids did not have phones until they were, you know, 14.
Sure.
And it's just because of their swimming and they needed a phone so they can tell me they were ready. You know, they're so busy
It makes it
nowadays.
convenient for you.
It
as
is,
an
you're like,
adult.
are you ready to be picked up? And
Sure.
they were embarrassed at 14. Mommy, I have to ask my friend, you know, to text you.
Mhm.
Like I had all their friends' numbers still because they were the ones texting me.
Mhm.
But I made sure they understood that it was a privilege when they got their phone at 14, not at 5 or 6, you know, which is happening nowadays.
But we do have some parents, and you know, I think the purpose also too, like as we get into the screen time, because it sounds like, you know, it can be very well debatable, but I think the research behind it's doing more damage than good.
Oh,
So
yeah.
therefore, I'm thinking like just for our parents that it's just like I can't just, you know, cut it cold turkey, Miss Wright. Just that gradual
Gradual.
release of time. So we talked about 5 fruits and vegetables.
5 or more, servings.
She's like, or more.
Exactly.
Per day.
Per day, not a week,
Not a week.
Okay. And then 2
or less.
hours. And y'all hear Coach Orlando. She is
Of recreational time.
recreational time.
Not-
Screen time, yeah.
And Jessie says you can make it happen. If you on Facebook, Mom, and you going through that news feed, you gotta model that too for them. But I mean, I'm just
It's
saying,
hard.
It's hard.
It's difficult.
It's very hard. 'Cause
But
I
make
mean-
it a game. Like I was telling her, we at the end of the days, we all check our screen times and, you know, like trying to see who has the
Ooh, that's-
least. And so,
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
because obviously the one that has
That's
the most, you're like,
good.
why are you have too much free
Yeah.
time. So, you know, my overachiever student, when she complains about something, I'm like, how much did you spend on your phone? Maybe you need to cut it
That down.
and do some you know,
That's awesome.
reading and learning.
That is awesome.
It is hard, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I mean, even
it
for
really
us
is.
adults. But I mean, the research already tells you that screen and technology is causing lots of damage on the kids. This attention deficit at school, it's most of the time because they are so into a technology brain that they don't want to listen to the teacher in front. You know, they want to learn from a screen, which it might in the future be the future, right? But not right now. We want the kids to be able to focus and listen and be able to.
With real life
With,
humans.
yes.
And carry on a
That we
conversation.
care, right?
Actually,
That we care, exactly.
So tell us about the one.
That's our favorite one here and when you go to PE, right? It's 1 hour of physical activity every day. Every day.
That's hard.
It is hard. As a PE teacher, sometimes I'm like, it's such a little time we have you. But it's what we have. I mean, we have over 980 students already, and we're barely giving you, my little ones, we see them every day for 25 minutes. That doesn't even make it the 135 hours that, you know, they don't need it. Barely,
135
minimum,
minutes.
right?
So what do we do outside of school, Dr. Sterchy? Like, why is that important outside? Like, because if Coach Orlando's handling what she can here for the 20 to 30 minutes, then why is it so important for the remainder of that time with our families?
Think about your heart. You know, your heart is a muscle. And you have to exercise that muscle no differently than you'd exercise a muscle in your leg or your arms or your back.
Do you find it with the older kids? Just because I know like you're all around, you're coordinator of our district. That for those that are not in sports, that are not in on teams or whatever, yes, and after school extracurricular. Do you find it sometimes a challenge for some of maybe those teachers that for kids not staying so physically fit and physically healthy? I mean, what are you seeing? Because you are like a woman of wisdom. I said you are seasoned, Dr. Sterchy. So tell us, like,
Not
what are
everybody
you
loves
saying?
what we love.
Okay.
You know, it's just like you may not love algebra, you may not love physics. You know, there's plenty of people who don't like activity, they don't like movement.
So how do you get that team to
And we
move?
just have to, find an interest point where they like doing something. And it doesn't have to be on a competitive team. They can just move. It's just,
I think I'm
And
glad
make
that you said
good
that because
choices.
sometimes it's pressure for families. But I want you to be in cheerleading. Like you
Yes.
have to do track.
Yes.
You have to do
Right.
you have to do dance. So what I'm hearing from you, and I just want to make sure that our parents know is just finding. You're saying
Something.
just something.
it could be skateboarding, it could be inline skating, it could be bowling. It doesn't have to be a traditional competitive sport. It just has to be, maybe they love going and doing the go-karts on the weekend. Those are all movement activities.
So that means you have to try it out. You have to try some different options to see
Yes.
how it works.
These trampoline parks that you see, they're kind of vogue right now. The kids, I'm seeing kids from the pre-K ages, 2, 3, 4, all the way up until the basketball teams are doing their celebratory kinds of parties at these trampoline parks and having a blast. Well, their phones are not in front of their face.
Right.
They're having a good time socializing with each other and hearing on conversations that don't involve tennis.
So it's like putting the opportunities
Yes,
before
in
them
front of
so
them.
that they can choose.
Yeah, and you have, like we have Jessica with 4 kids, 4 different personalities. I have 2 very, very different girls. So when my youngest, which is my little super hyper girl, was doing all the activities that I could think of, it was not enough.
Yeah.
Her 6th birthday, when we came back to the US, she wanted a trampoline. And so we bought the biggest trampoline that could fit in my backyard. And I just gave it away this past summer. And that's because it was ruining my backyard. But she was still getting in it. I mean, like, she will go to swim, she will go to, you know, all her activities, and she will get home, and she was still like, I need to, you know, and so I'm like, go jump. I'm cooking, go jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so those are little ideas. I tell my students, you know, for the one, I said, today you only have like 25 minutes. You still need, you know, the
Oh, that's
rest.
good, so you tell them. Like,
Yeah. And I said, take your dog, you know, for a walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Every time I tell the kids, too, every time a commercial comes on, if they're watching their favorite TV show, when the commercial comes down, walk down on the floor and do some curl-ups or push-ups or plank. Those commercials usually run about 6 minutes,
Mhm.
you know, in a 30-minute cycle. Every 6 minutes, they last for about 6 minutes. You know that because many people will use that remote and stand
Oh, yeah.
for them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so if the kids are down on the floor doing a plank or some curl-ups with each other, they can do things where they hook ankles together and they're both moving. It's amazing in a 1-hour television show how much activity you can
Yeah.
actually get in.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was just thinking, especially if the kids are competitive with each other.
Yes.
You know, kind of like what you were
Uh-huh.
saying, yeah, about I think that that's a fantastic idea. You know, and for me, these aren't really things that I think of. You know, like we are not our family, we are not big into sports or anything like that, but, you know, finding other ways is great, you know, for us to get going and moving and, you know,
And what
stuff
do your
like
kids
that.
normally do during the commercials? Run to the refrigerator, get a snack.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I mean, we're all guilty of that.
But they're running.
It's just like they are ready for a couple of seconds. But that makes sense, and I love how you said that. I mean, I think we just all don't, you know, I don't have my own kids as of yet. I have my stepson, but like we don't just magically think in our heads, like even just me and my husband, like, oh, okay, babe, like let's go do some, you know, push-ups.
Right.
But because as adults, I think we think automatically, oh, I need to go to the gym. Or this
Yeah.
long, extravagant,
Yeah, no.
which
Yeah.
is good. It's not saying that it's bad, but like for time, because I know some parents are like, well, I work and I have, you know, X, Y, and Z, and I got to put the kids to bed. Well, here it is, something that you can do, you know, during the week
Super fast.
to make sure you do it
Yeah.
super fast. So tell us our last or zero.
And then
So we got the 5,
Yes, and then
the
you'll-
2,
Mhm.
the 1, and the 0. It's a very important number that I have to keep
Well,
telling the kids,
ooh,
like,
look at that.
today, for example, we were celebrating the 0, and I'm gonna be super honest. I mean, sometimes I will name a drink, and my students will be like, "What?"
Mhm.
Yes, those drinks that our kids are drinking every day are loaded with sugar. And so nowadays, most people are concentrating like, oh, let's limit the candy or let's limit this, or most sugar consumed nowadays, adults and children, are drinking the sugar. We're drinking, you know, added sugar.
Exactly.
We have this local cola right here that has some trivia that it's just
It's pretty frightening, actually.
frightening.
I thought,
Yes.
you know that saying, pictures worth a thousand words, right? So I thought, why not, after Jessie talked a little bit about the 5210, and the 0 is for no sugary drinks. I wanted to show you this container right here. If you, a family member, we'll just say the you, we're going to drink 2 12-ounce carbonated drinks of a sugar drink, whether it's Coke, Pepsi, Sprite, it doesn't matter. It could be a Sonic drink. But if you're gonna drink 2 12-ounce bottles, now I brought this water bottle, this is a 16-ounce. So 12 ounces, probably only up until the band.
Yeah.
You're gonna drink 2 of those a day for 30 days, 1 month. You will have consumed this entire container of soda. You will have consumed 5 pounds of sugar. So if you think when you go to the grocery store, wherever you like to shop, and you buy that Domino's sugar bag, coming up the holidays, right? More people are baking and doing all kinds of fun things. You will have consumed about 8,000 calories. You will have consumed 5 pounds of sugar and this container full of actual carbonated drink.
So you might as well just line up the bags and
Might as
just.
well.
yeah.
You might as well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty scary. So I thought showing you this would be kind of fun. You know how we probably all said in our lifetime we'd like to lose 5 pounds? Well, I thought this would be kind of nice to show you what 5 pounds, if this were right here, would you mind just putting that back down? I'm gonna show you this 5 pound blob of fat. So if this were right here on my hip or my stomach or my bottom.
Mine is right there.
And so, you know what, Miss Wright, just hang on to that. That is 5 pounds of what I say to the kids is
I'm pretty sure my husband's probably laughing, but it's all right there. Oh,
And
yeah,
so,
look at that.
Jessica, let me have you,
Oh, yeah.
this is 1 pound right here, 1 pound of fat. And I rarely hear people say, I'm going to lose 1 pound, unless it's 1 pound per week. Now, what we need to think about is that 3,500 calories equals 1 pound. So 1 pound, 3,500 calories. If we wanted to lose that amount of fat in 1 week, we would have to decrease our caloric intake by 500 calories per day, because 7 days in a week times 5 is 3,500. That would give us an opportunity to lose 1 pound of fat per week. It's very hard.
Wow.
Now, let's pretend that we're going to do the reverse. We're going to eat salsa and chips, and we're going to have a margarita
My favorite
on a Friday night with socializing
Oh,
with
she
friends, right?
did it. Yes.
The calories in a
Oh,
margarita,
my goodness.
about 1,500 for one. Some people have more than one. And then by the time you add the salsa and the chips, you've consumed probably somewhere near 3,500 to 3,800 calories. And just before your entree even appears at your table.
Dr. Sterchy, but it looks so good on the table.
It does. And you know, our restaurant folks, they're marketeers. They're very good at marketing because they bring you all that right before your entree comes. And you've gone through an entire basket of those chips and a margarita before your entree arrives, and maybe on the second basket. So truly, moms and dads and kids, you could consume about 4,000 calories before your entree even arrives. Just real quick, I'm going to show you a couple more visuals just because these are kind of fun. When you're stopping at some of our favorite Shipley and Krispy Kreme donut places, I want to show you the amount of fat that is in a donut. Now,
It looks like a donut.
it looks like a donut.
Yeah.
And it's just all fat.
There's nothing really left, is there? So when you're picking up those on Saturday morning before soccer, and you're eating a couple of these, and they go down really fast, right? And pretty easy, pretty fun. I kind of want to show you this one. This is about the size of a Twinkie. Now, I know that Twinkies aren't being made too much anymore, but this is the amount of what I call FAT in the Twinkies. You all know when we have that wonderful time of the year where we sell those cookies?
Yeah.
Well, this is the amount of fat in those cookies. That amount, it just kind of wiggles. So every time you put them in, and I've been known to, I can't eat one, I have to eat the sleeve. There's 10 or 12 in those sleeves. This is how much FAT is going into my system. Now, I don't know anyone who eats a scoop of Bluebell ice cream about this size. This is like probably the tiny little start of the scoop going into the bowl, right? So this is how much fat is in our food that sometimes we don't even think about. You may have gone to Olive Garden, and when you finish your meal, you have that little
Andy's Mint.
Andy's Mint. Yes, Jessica, exactly. This is the amount of fat that's in that Andy's Mint. So when you have a couple of those, you might grab a handful as you're exiting. That all of that is going into our body
This looks so cute.
and surrounding our heart. So the other thing that I brought, and I'll just go quickly, I wanted to show you a couple of things. With Thanksgiving just around the corner, what are we, 3 weeks
And I'm
from
glad
today?
that you said that because, what do you like, what do you do, and just to be mindful, right? Because I know some
Be
people.
mindful. That's a
Yes.
great comment. Be
Okay,
mindful.
well, okay.
If you can,
Mindful.
because we could eat a whole meal,
Mindful, she said moderation.
balance. We could eat a whole meal preparing the meal. We could eat our
I do
amount of
that.
calories. So
Yeah.
for a child, let's take a second grader here at Bradley. The amount for a moderately active child would be about 1,600 calories. That's how many calories they should consume. For a very active child, maybe about 18. And for a not moving person, maybe your computer technology superstar that you have, probably closer to 1,400. It's always good to have snacks that are the crunchy, low-calorie snacks. So once again, going to the 5210, dealing with our carrot sticks, possibly our celery sticks, maybe some red pepper, green pepper, those things cut, that people would grab and munch on, not with a huge dish of ranch salad dressing to dip that in. Because then we're just adding things like this to our system. But I wanted you to be mindful, that's a very, very good word, of reading your labels. Make sure you look at those labels, because you can make great choices and just do a little each day.
Right.
Eat this, not that. Eat this, not that. But I was looking at things like this cornbread. This the amount of calories is 180 calories
I'm
in a
just gonna
slice.
say, I just
Mhm.
love my sweet cornbread.
And then you slap the butter on it.
Oh,
You're exactly
right.
right.
We're just sitting here like, oh,
And
You're
the,
breaking my
the
heart.
crazy part is the portion control, because when they give you the amount of calories, it is not usually for the portion size that we, I'll only speak for myself, that I would cut, which would probably be, according to this directions and the label, probably 3 slices. So
So you mentioned portion control.
Yes.
And so that is a big thing for me, because I have a hard time giving up the stuff that I love. So as long as we are mindful of portion control and stuff like that, not, filling our plate up, piles and piles worth of food, portion control is acceptable, it is okay, and, so that way you don't necessarily have to give up what you love, you just kind of,
balance.
okay.
Stay within the balance. Did you ever think, back to your grandparents, the size of the plate in their China cabinet or hutch or whatever they had, the size of the plates in the last 15 to 20 years have escalated and expanded.
You were so
And like,
right.
it is
Yeah.
amazing. What used to be an 8-inch plate for a dinner plate is now closer to a 12-inch plate.
Right, yeah.
And we have the Food Network plates that are even bigger. Those are 14-inch plates. But, they're all, once again, the marketing of those products make us think that, oh, well, we want the fashion side of those plates. You go to the Scott Brothers, and now they have a new line of dishes at Target. Well, those dishes are, once again, the larger size. And it's stuff that you don't even think about. I want to just kind of point out a couple things. If you've gone to Whataburger, isn't Whataburger one of our favorite places to go? I want to just show you.
Giggling, and I'm like,
Or McDonald's, because what do?
I'm
Sometimes
Whataburger.
we zip through to the Happy Meal. There's not a 3-year-old in the United States that doesn't know the Golden Arches and know what
That's
that's
true.
about.
Yeah.
I want to show you the amount of fat that is in a double cheeseburger.
just horrible.
This is going right into your arteries, and your arteries are screaming. This is a cheeseburger. Let me just show you a couple others that you may go, really? How about a breakfast taco? Have you ever stopped and picked up one of those? Or maybe we're guilty at the schools of
The
serving
taquitos.
those. Yes.
So I just can't have
The
taquitos.
amount of
Okay,
fat.
all right.
How about those Golden Arches French fries? This is the Happy Meal size of fat that's in
The
those.
Happy Meal.
Not the.
Oh my goodness, you can't
Oh my
Isn't it
gosh.
scary?
So wait a minute, pause, Dr. Sterchy, because I know that there's somebody that is watching this show, and they are probably like, you know what, she just, I just can't do this.
They're screaming at the screen.
But you know what? Those French fries aren't so bad if they're cooked in an air fryer. It's not the potato part that's causing the issue, it's the way we're preparing them. So using an air fryer with the crisping strategy, you know, we have that,
I love that.
it makes a huge difference. This one is chicken nuggets. Now, we all know that famous place that we drive on Saturday after soccer games, right? And the cars are lined up outside to get the chicken nuggets. These are amazing, but once again, using your air fryer would be a big plus. There are so many different kinds of things. I want to encourage you, though, to read those labels. And let me show you one last thing, is that what Miss Orlando and Coach Harrison do in their program, this is kind of the message that we give to our kids.
Let me hold it for you.
Okay,
while
thank
talk
you.
about it.
This is our go, slow, and whoa. Those are just fun words to say. Go foods are those things that Miss Orlando talked about, the fruits and the vegetables, the things that we want kids to eat very frequently. Our slow foods would be things like your air fried potatoes,
Okay.
or possibly some pasta. Kids like pasta in most cases, but we can't have pasta and then put on the fried meatballs and then the Parmesan cheese on top of it, right? So this would be some vegetable activity. Have you ever had spaghetti squash and then put the marinara on top
Yes.
of the spaghetti squash? I've kind of found a trick that if I ask the produce manager to cut that spaghetti squash for me, because it's that yellow football looking vegetable that may be in your produce section that you're not familiar with. I put saran wrap on the top, stick it in the microwave for about 6 minutes, and it's really easy. Scoop it out.
But Dr. Sterchy, what if, you know, I'm just gonna say on the other side, we may have some parents that say, you know, I don't have time for all of that. You gotta understand, I gotta get these kids, so can I just get the frozen kind? As long as I look at the label and pop it in the microwave and it's still squash?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The one thing that those frozen meals are going to have, though, I want you to be mindful of, is the high amounts of sodium. Very, very high amounts of sodium. And the example I gave you
Just
with
can't
that
win,
spaghetti
huh?
squash, 6 minutes in the microwave, that's the amount of time that your kids are going to take their backpacks and put them on the hook, get out their things that they need to have done for being a superstar Bradley Bear the next day. Just even taking off their school clothes and putting on possibly their play clothes. And of course, our woe foods. Those are the things that we want to limit. Those are our things like the birthday cupcake and the Bluebell ice cream, and of
Chips
course,
and salsa.
the chips and salsa, and those margaritas that you may be consuming. So our kids know that story. Go slow, whoa. And we use that frequently, and it's a great message, and it's really easy. I had a little boy at Thanksgiving dinner tell his mom, he said, I don't think I can have that cornbread dressing, Mom, because that would be a woe food. And the mom was like, she calls me and she said, your message is working. Your message is working.
So I do have a question though, for the parents that are, you know, I have a tendency sometimes to say I'm overwhelmingly busy.
Uh-huh.
What do you suggest for those that are like, I just absolutely positively cannot, you know, focus on, you know, staying home and meal prepping?
Yes.
Or is there something that you can, some advice, anything that you could give us parents that, you know, I just need to go run through a drive-through real quick?
You know what?
do you
Give
have
yourself
there?
some grace.
Yeah.
Give yourself some grace,
I like
because
that.
we have those days, as you mentioned, Jessica, that, you know, they don't need to hear that message from anyone. And the more you hear it about, that's when you put the brakes on, you go, I can't.
Right.
So, gosh, I'd be silly to think that you have plenty of time to be doing this, work full time, get your kids to school, make sure that your laundry is clean, that you've picked up things from the cleaners, or you're ironing, you've fed the dog, you've taken them to the groomer. That's life.
Yeah.
Give yourself some grace, that there are days, I call them sometimes days.
And I like how she said it so simple. I love her. She said it so eloquently. But I mean, that is true with what you said. And so I love how Jessie is saying, okay, so now that you know and you're aware, be mindful, moderation. So yes, looking into this week, and you can't probably do it every single day. And in anything that you're going to make a habit, what do they say, 21 days, 28 days,
Yes.
something like that, to make it a habit, like give some stepping stones for you as a family and build that goal. Because I think that that's a powerful thing too, because the buy-in with your kids, we're not expecting you to just after this show, just like, okay, hit the ground moving with 5210.
Right.
You know, our coach is helping you.
Be forgiving
Yeah,
and
exactly.
remind yourself that every day is a new day. Just like here in school, I mean, if one of my students get in trouble today, I am not gonna take it again tomorrow. I'm like, hey, tomorrow it's brand new day, nothing happened yesterday, let's start from fresh. It's the same concept with 5210. Halloween just passed, and I love to start my kickoff right after Halloween because I don't want to put this pressure on my students
That's
before
right.
Halloween, right?
Yeah.
They know, they've been listening, go slow, whoa, but then the major, comes after Halloween. We talk about it, and we have games that they have fun with. Like today, we have the superhero fitness tag, and the evil villains are like, the evil candy bars.
Oh, yeah.
And the Dr. Donut, and they laugh, and they understand that
But
we
they
are.
get that that's a whoa food. I like how you make it fun.
Yeah.
Like
And
it's
they-
kind of like it's good,
But
but
they're
yeah.
running away from
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
But if they
yeah.
get touched, they have a way to get better, and so that's where the superhero comes in. It's like, go and do the exercise over there, and they can get it. So you see the whole concept. So I tell them, check yourself at the end of the day. Did I do the 5, the 2, the 1, the 0? Did I miss 1? It's okay. Tomorrow, I'm gonna try again. Try to get the 4 numbers. I do it for my own sanity. Did I eat my 5? Like,
Yeah, just like tonight,
checking.
I'm gonna be honest, I already texted my husband, and especially because I didn't make groceries, I didn't do curbside. So I'm like, if we didn't make it, it is what it is, but I love how you say, okay, so be mindful, so what are you going to do tomorrow? How can you make that better? So as we move along, Dr. Sterchy, and now we've got like this nutritional, tell us a little bit, let's branch, just for the purpose of time, into exercise.
Okay.
So going back to
Movement,
yes, our
The
movement.
1 hour movement.
the 1 hour movement.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about just making those small changes. We talked about parking a little farther away from the grocery store, taking the stairs. It's those little, making 2 to 3 minute changes in your life. So many people think, oh, well, I have to get a membership to Planet Fitness or 24-Hour Fitness, Lifetime Fitness. You know what? I went back to these cans, just kind of thinking about getting the cans out of the pantry, and you're watching the news in the morning and waiting for your Keurig to put your delicious coffee in the cup. Maybe you're just gonna do some quick little arm movements.
Look at that.
And what movement? Your biceps, your triceps, both of those muscles are really working well. You can just do some curls. This is no different than if we went to one of those fancy schmancy fitness centers that we had to get up an hour earlier. We had to do the work, and of course we needed new tennies, and we needed a new cute outfit for the gym. We could be doing these kinds of activities. So let's say that I could do 15 of these while my coffee was brewing. Now I go and take my shower, I come back and I'm gonna get my coffee, and I do 15 more. And then maybe during lunch, I have these at my desk and I can do 15 more. Well, by the end of the day, when I'm putting on my pajamas, I'm gonna do 15 more before I get into bed. I'll have maybe 70, 75 of these little curls or different arm activities. Now, it's just, what are we talking about? 1 pound each, not 5 pound weights. We don't have to go and purchase anything. We're just gonna use things that we have.
But the kids can do that
They can
as
do it well.
Yeah.
Water bottles work well, okay? You probably have some of these that went into your recycle bin. Fill them with sand rather than fill them with water. Take those milk jugs, those quart or half-gallon milk jugs, and fill them with sand, and do those same kind of activities. Even just lifting in this motion is going to help your deltoids, your shoulders, your pecs. All of those muscle groups are going to be used, and it's not like you have to do it 100 times a day.
Right.
We talked about jumping down and getting a few curl-ups in and working our core muscles. Even just leaning against the wall and pressing as if we were going to do a wall push-up. We could do that on one of our kitchen doors or on the wall.
I was just about to say that if the kids are in their room or whatever, or if y'all went to different corners of the house and everyone's like finding, I know parents are like, not on my wall. I said, but I mean,
family challenge.
Yes, but even if you had a towel or something, you know, and just,
On
you
the
know,
door.
lay it on, or on the door,
Yeah,
I think
the
that
door
is so
works
awesome.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, it works well. We're
You
not
know-
saying with greasy hands.
Right, exactly. I will tell you, when Gabby started riding horses, she was sore
Yes, I'm
with her
sure.
legs. And her instructor had said, go to a stair if you have stairs in your house.
Exactly.
And, you know, stand on the edge on your tiptoes and just go up and down.
Exactly.
You know, when my little ones were really, really little and, you know, doing laundry, you know, I was told that lifting the basket, you know,
Exactly.
with your legs and stuff like
Exactly.
that will also help.
That big muscle group in your
Mhm.
legs.
Yeah.
If you think about the stairs, you mentioned stairs. If you just think about a step bench, you remember when step bench,
yeah.
right?
Jazzercise,
If you just go
right?
here stairs and you step up, step down, step down. Step up, step down, step down. And do 30 leading with your right leg and then turn around and do 30 leading with your left leg. Maybe while the kids are grabbing their backpacks, getting ready to jump in the car for carpool, or you're the carpool driver that day.
Yeah.
Get in 60 of those, come back and do 30 on the right,
Good.
30 on the left. Maybe 30 is too many to start, maybe you need to do 10. It's whatever fits you the best.
Mhm.
And then you'll realize, you go, you know what, I've got 50 of those in that I never would have done
Even at the
yesterday
gym.
because I
Mhm.
wasn't even thinking about it. And then tomorrow 50, or at the end of this week, maybe now it's 75.
Right.
And then next week it's like, oh, that was a cinch, I'm gonna do 155.
But I like how it's at home. I think that's what I want parents to
Yeah.
understand and
And
feel.
then as a family,
Okay,
you
yeah.
can do it together. Like you can tell all, you know, even your kids that are not even athletic
Mhm.
during the commercials, like everybody, let's see who can do a plank the longest.
Yes. it
And
works
everybody
out
was on the floor, and everybody's having fun. Everybody's gonna laugh.
Oh, they're
And
gonna think it's fantastic.
It's, you know, especially when seeing mom and dad that
Mhm.
you know.
And that's the bonding time too that you
Yes.
said. So, and I want to, you know, say this before we get into questions. I think it's important as when we talk about, you know, nutrition with the 5210 on how to eat and then how to physically move and stay active as a family, that us as adults, that we model that for the kids. Because even the little bittiest thing that kids see, they're gonna feel inspired. Like I say for reading, if you're reading, even though you don't like it, but you're pushing an effort, they're gonna push an effort. So we have to make sure like we're modeling that, and we have to make sure that we're being accountable, because it's easy for us to say, yeah, you need to eat your fruits and veggies, but if we're not
Eating it.
if we're not doing it, it's
Yeah.
just like, fine.
Yeah,
You know, you don't like it.
exactly.
Did you have anything else y'all wanted to add a little bit before we get into it? We had a couple of questions from our people. We can go ahead and get started. So number one, I thought this was a really good question someone asked. How does PE fit in with helping a child with teamwork? How does that work in PE? How does that help it fit in?
Part of, you know, it's PE, it's, you know, everything that you have to think about teamwork and sportsmanship, you know, and PE, part of it, you know, I think the main thing is being safe, that they know it by heart, but the second one is we're a team. So when we're playing and we're tagging, if somebody, you know, falls and, you know, first thing you need to do is like, can I help you? That's sportsmanship. Oh, are you okay? Before you keep, you know, tagging. And when we're playing games, a lot of our games are, you know, doing teamwork. As a matter of fact, if you come in for the academic night on Tuesday,
Yeah.
that's where we're working on. We're teaming up. At the same time, we're going to be spelling and we're going to be active. So PE is a great way for kids that don't know even because they're not in the same class.
I was just about to say that. I said
Yeah.
because we don't really think
They-
about those kids that I, you know, came from my single parent mom, and I didn't always have access to other different kids and always playing. But it's just, it's almost like physical education allows you to like push to be around other people that are completely different from you, that may have different abilities, in the way that they look and the way that they act, and you have to learn how to cooperate
Yeah.
And
with
work
everybody.
together.
And
Yeah,
work
work
together.
together,
And get
help
along.
each other, get
Yeah,
along.
you know,
Nothing more satisfying than seeing them doing teamwork, and then, when we do some competition, just to keep, the heart rate and the enthusiasm in the class, is when at the end of a game, they go and they high five and say, great work. I'm like, tear up, because I'm like, gosh, that's great. I mean, it's great, kind of, what's the word, camaraderie.
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 I was like, we're all like, camaraderie.
But that's exactly what's, going on in there. Teaming up, working together, helping each other.
But think what a
Learning.
lifelong activity that is. I mean, we're never stronger by ourselves. We're always stronger when we work together, whether it's the corporate world, whether it's a professional team, or I've never found anyone who's alone on an island be
Successful.
loving and caring and
Right.
love themselves.
It's true.
It's all about survival when you're by yourself.
Yes.
You have to work together as a team, and there'll be the dominant person, there'll be the shy person, there'll be the person, and all of a sudden you'll see those skills just blossom, their personal skills.
That's
That
awesome.
kiddo that was shy is now, they're the ones who's leading the group, the problem solver.
So PE allows for that.
It
Kudos
surely
to
does.
PE. All right, our next question is, how long every day should my family work out together? We talked about that, 1 hour, at least 1 hour or
At
more.
least 1 hour.
Okay, all right, what can I do with a child that hates veggies?
Oh.
No!
How
No
about,
broccoli.
That's a big
I would
word.
suggest
Hate.
maybe taking, let's use the vegetable celery. And maybe that dad could put some low-fat peanut butter on that celery and some raisins and have ants on a log, and maybe that child would all of a sudden go, that's not so bad. Or going back to the ranch dressing with the carrots or the red pepper, green pepper, or the snap peas.
Hummus.
With hummus is a really good choice, Jessie, and then the
You say
low-fat.
hummus, and I know some parents will probably.
No, it's delicious. I
And
mean,
now there's so many flavors of hummus that are
Yes,
just really,
yes.
really good. I always say, I'm not always the best try-it person. I have those mental blocks too on foods that are the kind that you would see on some chef show, but just to try it. And if we always have the starch, crunchy snacks with high salt in the pantry, in the cupboard, and that's what I reach for, rather than having something that's available to me. Maybe it's the rice crackers instead of the Ritz crackers. A high level of fat difference between those rice and almond snack crackers. They're just as crunchy as the Ritz, but the Ritz is filled with FAT. So just making some good choices and having it available.
involvement to
Yeah.
have the kids help you cutting them, helping cleaning them, putting them in the little bags, and then
Bags,
putting
yes.
it in the refrigerator for them to be ready.
Exactly.
Like, I need a snack for today at school. Here, put it in. But make them responsible too of doing all the work, because then it matters more.
Ownership.
Sometimes
Yeah.
when it's just
Think
mommy
about it like that.
working,
Yeah.
mommy, I don't know what she did, but if
Yeah.
they know, hey, I cleaned those celery sticks, they're in the refrigerator, they're gonna be more like, I'm gonna take and probably it's a conversation
It's almost like getting
during
used
lunch.
to the routine
Yeah.
too, because if mommy, it may.
I
the
did
kids,
it.
yeah.
Every parent is.
And this is a great season, for the little halo oranges where the kids can peel them. They're really, and those are good snacks for the kids to have. High in vitamins and easy to peel. They're juicy, they're colorful, they provide a lot of fluid, so
And
it's having it available.
a great thing, parents, is a lot of vegetables, when you cut them and put it in the Ziploc ready to go, they stay in the refrigerator for like a week. So you can prepare them on Sunday night and just have them in the refrigerator. They're not gonna go bad.
And one little tip, we're just piggybacking on what Jessie said, is take those little zippy bags of those crunchy snacks and stick a bag in your purse. So that when you're waiting for the bus, or you're waiting for your carpool driver, or you're waiting in the carpool line or even at the grocery store, instead of going and buying the bag of, or the thing of Pringles, take out that zippy bag and munch on it while you're grocery shopping.
That's true. Well, I have enjoyed and learned a lot today. I am so thankful, and I'm so thankful for you parents just participating and wanting to learn and grow more as a family. As I've always told you, these talk shows are to inspire you and to help us all as a community so we can make better choices, whether it's social, emotional, academic, physical. And so I'm glad to have all of our hosts. And I hope that if you have any other questions, I'm going to get some handouts from Coach Orlando, and I'll be sure to drop them in our YouTube about some examples of some snacks and everything, because I know you're probably like, well, what can I buy? What can I buy? Where do I start? So I'll get that information out and I'll drop that in our link. So we will see you on our next episode, and thanks for tuning in to Get Right Moving Straight.
I know it's the way to go.